What is up, guys? Mike Merlin's here with the Metal Webzine. Welcome to episode 38 of All the Metal Podcast. The Black Sabbath series continues, and tonight I'm talking with my good buddy Jason Doome from the Doome Church group on Facebook about the second Black Sabbath album, Paranoid. And it's an album that needs no introduction, so I don't even know why I'm talking, because this is the album that basically started every metal subgenre in existence and will probably be responsible for new subgenres we can't conceive right now. That's how innovative and important an album this is, at least in my opinion. So we'll give Jason a call and see if he feels the same way. Stay tuned.
Hello.
Well, hello. How's it going?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, there you are, buddy.
How's it going?
Good, man. Just, kicking back, smoked what was left of my weed. You know, that kind of sucks, bro, but, you know, it happens. So, yeah, just drinking some coffee, man, did a little research, and,
Cool.
kicking some sleep. Holy mountain right now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, if I'm not listening to Sabbath, I'm listening to some variation of Sabbath.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's how that works. Yeah, sleep is a nice choice, man.
Absolutely, dude.
And I was thinking that, you know, when we post this episode up in the Doome Church, if anybody's listening that has some greens on them, they'll probably be willing to help you out.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll use this as a little shameless self-promotion for your green fund as well. If you want to if you want to reach out to anyone in the Doome Church who might have a potent supply.
Right, yeah, I know, probably.
Right.
Probably.
Right. All right. So this is the second episode. We're on to Paranoid now. Are you ready?
I am, dude. Like I said, man, I took my time and put on some Sabbath, got some coffee brewing, and got ready, man.
Awesome. I am glad to hear it, and I am excited to be doing this with you right now. I like that this is becoming our new tradition.
Yeah, this is cool, man. I dig it, dude. You know, like I said, I'm a little bit more contained this time because, you know, with my anxiety, I get myself worked up, and then I compensate by yammering the fuck away.
Oh yeah.
So I'm good now, though. I'm straight.
Yeah, I totally get that. You know, we psych ourselves out of so much every day, and you know, this is gonna be therapy for both of us.
I couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more.
All right. So, the title track was written at the last minute as filler. Now it's one of their most popular songs. So when you first heard Paranoid, did you hear filler or killer?
For me, man, and it's not just because I love Sabbath, fucking killers. I mean, if that's your filler, then holy shit, you know what I mean? And they did holy shit themselves with even more impressive songs, but that's a solid stand on its own song, for sure, especially lyrically.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it, too. Like, even when I read that story years later about how they just kind of, you know, threw it on there just to add another track and just to add 3 more minutes to the record at the record label's behest. Like, that was kind of how I looked at it. Like, okay, well, if that's just Iommi shitting out a riff and, you know, the guys just getting together and deciding, like, hey, we can throw this together and, you know, we'll give them their 8 tracks, you know, like, that is, you know, a lot of bands couldn't touch that trying with all their heart. You know, I mean, especially in those days. So, no, I agree with you. If that's your filler, then sky's the fucking limit.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah. I mean, like you said, dude, if you're farting out riffs like that and basically a whole song like that, you're really good.
Yeah, and like the album already had such big, long, powerful songs. Like like the other 7 tracks are each track is its own world almost. Like
Oh, definitely.
And it's very, especially Planet Caravan, obviously. But I mean, like, Like, that is... It's just such a journey. It's just such a crazy journey. Like, the other day I was listening to it, and I brought it up on YouTube, and the video, it said the full album. The video was an hour and a half long, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I didn't realize, but I got to the end of the record, and then it started over again, and it was all the instrumentals. So I just listened.
Wow.
So I just listened to, like, you know, Paranoid without Ozzy. You know, for the back half, and it was really fucking cool. Like, even War Pigs with all those stops, like, it was still fucking enjoyable, man. Yeah.
I gotta check that out. That sounds dope as fuck.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you for sure.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So, this is such an important album because it is just as personal. It's just as personal as it is about war, politics, and religion. So, which songs do you identify with the most on this album lyrically?
I'm gonna have to go right back to Paranoid, man. Those lyrics, you know, I know theirs was more obviously painted towards the war, you know, and the military guys and women coming back. But, you know, that self-seclusion and, you know, just, you know, I try to be happy, but I can't, you know. I mean, it hits home with my depression big time.
Right. For sure. So what? No, go ahead. Keep going. Go ahead.
No. So I mean, that's, you know, and I mean now more than ever, and we'll get to it obviously, but War Pigs probably that resonates with me more now than ever with our recent political climate.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's amazing how many 50 years later, and that song is dead nuts still.
Right. And I was saying to because I pair each one of these episodes with an article, so one of the things I said in my Paranoid article was that the Iron Man was correct, because in the song Iron Man, the Iron Man, he gets shot off into space, and when he looks down on Earth, he's looking at a futuristic Earth, and he just sees all this tragedy, all this death and destruction, and not just destruction from war, but, like, you know, political scandals and just, you know, a world ravaged by disease and just, you know, all these different things that they discuss in the lyrics. But then when the Iron Man returns to Earth, he's a mute, and no one, they dismiss his claims anyway.
Right.
So the song is about the Iron Man having his revenge when all of his predictions come to pass, like Nostradamus. So, like, that is, like, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, especially, like, over the past year with the pandemic and everything. Like, and I remember thinking that, like, you know, long before I wanted to start the series, I was like, holy fuck, the Iron Man was right. You know,
right,
like, it's just, like, I've been going on this fucking Sabbath journey, man, and, like, it's just, I'm, like, remembering all these fucking, these weird, like, Sabbath references that I would make over the years. So it's fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, lyrically, Sabbath is just, I mean, come on. They're so good, you know? They just, each song, man, lyrically, it takes you where they want you to go. That's awesome.
Yep. Each song is its own world, its own dimension, if you will.
It is, and Paranoid, or not Paranoid, but Planet Caravan, that's a song it's a standout, and it gets brought up all the time because of how fucking good it is. You know, I mean, that song, and definitely when we get to the question about hearing this for the first time, you know, I'll save that for that. Yeah.
No, good. Sounds good. Yeah, we'll pace it. What are your favorite Iommi riffs on Paranoid? On the whole album, not just the song.
Right. You know, as I, you know, went through it tonight so I could really sit down and, you know, go track by track. Yeah, I gotta say, Rat Salad and Fairies, man. Mm-hmm. They might be two unexpected ones, but
Fairies wear boots.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's Fairies wear boots, man. It's probably my top 3.
Right.
Those revolve constantly between the Wizard and Supernaut and Fairies, man. And I'm glad I got to see it performed live.
Right on, man.
But yeah, those two in particular, man. I mean, because a lot of the riffs are slow and doomy on this album. You know, they're not up there with, say, Volume 4, which is a little bit more peppy, and got some of those. So the riffs that whole song as a whole, and that's another answer for another question.
Right.
But like Rat Salad, man, that showcases everybody. Obviously not Ozzy, but it really showcases each individual musician on that track. And that's what's so cool about it.
Yep. Everybody has their moment to shine on this, and I think a lot of different bands over the years just kind of took cues from particular moments.
For sure.
Like, there are little hints of power metal and sludge, and there's just so much. Like even there's even some subtle math rock on this album that cued in a lot of like progressive metal bands who were like growing up listening to Sabbath and things like that. So no, it's really cool to like go back and like really dive into one of the records that started it all,
Oh, for sure. And like with Rat Salad too, what kind of pushed me back into that song to check it out again was when High on Fire covered it for their Record Store Day release.
Oh, sure. I don't think I've heard that. I have not heard that.
Man, dude, you gotta hear it.
I like High on Fire. I like High on Fire, so I need to listen to that cover.
Yes,
sure.
Yeah, it's on the Bat Salad. The Bat Salad. Hold on, let me check. My fucking memory. It's on the Bat Salad EP, and it's got they do Bat Salad, and they also do a Bad Brains cover, and then an original. And it rips, man. It's pretty ferocious.
Right on. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I was trying to remember like why I kept thinking power metal. Like power metal found some root in this record, and it's because of the intro of Fairies Wear Boots.
Yeah.
There's something about that guitar riff that just makes me think that some of that might have been birthed there, but I could be wrong. It's all opinion. It's all retrospect.
Absolutely, that's what's cool about it, man.
Right. So what?
Tracing, trying to, I do that. I try to listen to bands, and like the one album that a ton of people point out, and I know this is way kind of off, but Joy Division's album.
Oh, okay.
Unknown Pleasures. That's an album, and I was always curious to that album as to why so many musicians regarded it so highly. And so I sat and I listened to it, and, was able to start hearing hints of this band that was, born out of Manchester, and then you go, oh! And so Sabbath is, same for me.
Right. Cool, man. So what was the first song you heard off Paranoid?
If I remember correctly, man, I'm pretty about 98% sure it's most likely Iron Man. And what drugged me in, that got me, I mean, of course, the music.
Probably mine too, was Iron Man.
Yeah, and the connection with the comic book aspect of it lyrically, but a way darker version, man. Like, they did a Black Sabbath Iron Man version, that would be dope, because it would be a super dark hero, right? And that's what I dug about that, and that kind of drew me into it, and then, of course, you just go from there, so.
Right on. Right the fuck on. So yeah, I mean, I guess we could break it up at this point. I feel like we're missing a lot, but we'll get more into it. And we'll flesh out the answers and such. So, in the Doome Church, which is how I found you, more or less.
Right.
Talk about some of the new bands, like the new band, because obviously there would be no Doome Church without Black Sabbath. But talk about some of the new bands that have been getting shared in the group lately. Like what newer music have you discovered lately, like within the past couple weeks, because of the group?
Oh man, well, it's a pretty eclectic mix of music because we're trying to stick with the darker side, the heavier side of music. So Doom, crust Doom, but we do grindcore, death metal. But I'll tell you what, one of my favorite releases metal-wise was a band called Umbre Vita. And, man, that's a beast of a record. Holy cow. But then, with a lot of the releases, Bongzilla, Beelzebub, Dope Throne, there's...
a lot of weed. A lot of weed.
Yeah, lots of weed. Lots of necessary weed.
Yeah.
Another good band that's just a kick in the ass awesome, man, is a band called Leather Lung. Those dudes are on Ripple or Magnetic Eye, and man, if you can ever catch a glimpse, find a clip of them on YouTube Live, they're fucking mind-blowing, man. They get it. It's badass. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, too, there's a band called Demonic Death Judge. I discovered them during the Rona. They're fantastic. Another band called The Ditch in the Delta. Another great band I discovered on Bandcamp. So it's a handful.
What are they like?
The last two I just told you are kind of a really cool, like a polished up sludge, almost, maybe.
Would you say Digital Delta?
The Ditch in the Delta.
The Ditch in the Delta. Okay.
Yep. They're banger albums, man. I took a shot. I was just browsing through.
Yeah.
Do a 10-second listen. If it caught me, I got them, and they both panned out.
Yeah. Who do they sound like?
They would be for fans of like a cleaner version of Bongzilla or Weed Eater.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. So when you were talking about High on Fire, you were talking about not Rat Salad like as in a cover. You were talking about Bat Salad like the EP.
Yeah, did I say Rat Salad, man? Jesus Christ.
No. I was just curious because I wanted to know if they actually covered that song. But you're talking about the Bat Salad EP that came out on Record Store Day in 2019.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, because I like that band, but I haven't heard that either. So there's like 3 songs on that I have to check out.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll tell you what, bro, if you're going to check into High on Fire, 2 albums, in my personal opinion, which, a lot of people go with Blessed Black Wings for High on Fire, but I turn to Luminiferous and Snakes for the Divine. Those 2 albums, dude, are boom.
Cool, man. Sweet. And, if you were done listing bands that you got into from the Doom Church group, I know you wanted to give another quick shout out to Third Coast Vinyl and talk a little bit more about the store, so you should definitely do that.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it, man. He's online at thirdcoastvinyl.com. He's a local guy. It's a small store, man, but I mean, he's got literally anything you want. Covering all genres. But his metal section, for a small store, man, it's on point. It's one of those stores that you can walk in and find a Bongzilla or a Beelzebub, Your Electric Wizard, all the Riding Easy stuff, and then some stuff from Cursed Tongue Records. So he's just a great store. He's a knowledgeable dude about metal, about anything you want. Cool store, man. Just check it out at thirdcoastvinyl.com, man. Get your metal on.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, I have a favorite record store in the Falls in Niagara Falls called Music Matters, and like we got lucky because it's it hasn't always been a one-man business, but as of late it's been a one-man business the last few years. So the owner, Rob Burke, he was able to stay open the whole time. He hasn't been closed a day. Well, other than his usual off days. But I mean, for him, not much changed when the pandemic hit, but it's a great store on Cayuga Drive in Niagara Falls, New York, called Music Matters, and yeah, they have Yeah, I've found a lot. I mean, he'll order anything you don't find there. Like he'll just order anything in for you. But I mean, I have found a lot of amazing records there that I never would have expected to just find in a store anywhere else. Like on vinyl, CD or cassette, even like just the treasure trove that it is. It's just and he's got his racks, he's got his, everything's alphabetized, he's got his record racks, he's got like, the CDs, and the tapes are just a free-for-all, but like, they take up all four walls. He's got all these tape racks upon tape racks.
Oh, holy cow.
But I mean, you just gotta go through, but then like, so those are just going to be all over the place. But the CDs and the records are alphabetized like perfectly. But then like underneath all the vinyl racks, he's just got bins and bins of memorabilia, T-shirts, like local bands. Well, like old school concert T-shirts too, like stuff you'd find that in a fucking it's like a metalhead's wet dream of a time capsule,
right.
And like,
nice.
Yeah, just all like music DVDs, and like you gotta dig. When you go to the store, like you're just digging through. You could find yourself digging through these bins for hours. It's just piles and piles of DVDs and CDs and shirts and all that. But like the things you find are just incredible. Like this collection he's just amassed. Like if you're willing to put in the work, like for the last 20 years, what he's just amassed is fucking impressive.
Yeah, we're anybody that, I'm a really lucky guy, man, because, Paul, who owns Third Coast, he opened that store. I kind of forced my way into his life by showing up constantly. I left the annoying dude in that movie with John Cusack, man. What's that movie? Oh, shit. Anyway, but, we became really good friends, man. He happens to own a record store that's badass, and not everybody's that lucky to live close to an indie record store, so I feel really lucky to have that.
Right. That's awesome, man. For sure.
Yeah.
Alright. I guess we can get back to Sabbath now. We're done talking about our favorite record stores. Okay, so this one's a little more involved. So they say that paranoid is what happens when great albums get terrible cover art. So the soldier in pink leggings on the cover is a result of the album's original title, War Pigs. So what were your first thoughts when you saw the album cover?
It's awful. It really is. It's awful. For being a kid who, I'm like so many others that would just go into a store and start at A and work your way through the alphabet, just to, and a lot of that you depend on the name and the album cover.
Oh, hang on a second. Were you talking about High Fidelity?
Yes, High Fidelity, damn it.
No, it was bothering me too. It was bothering me too, so I just fucking looked it up, man. Because it didn't even come out that long ago. That was only, that was just in the year 2000.
Yeah,
I kept thinking it was going to be an 80s movie, but yeah, I remember that now.
Basically, I'm the Jack Black, man. I just showed up and kept coming back.
Right. No, that's great, man.
So yeah, the cover, man, it's awful, dude. It really is. And like I said, for being one of those people that would go through the alphabet and look at things solely based on a name and the cover, like, that's how I discovered the Misfits, man. I pulled out Legacy of Brutality and the name, fucking score, really? And so, if it wasn't for the name, I'd be like, that's kind of weird, man. I would expect, like, I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Right, yeah, and I didn't pay attention to it for the longest time. I remember just recognizing that album by just splotches of color, almost like a floral arrangement, and like for years I just recognized it as such, and I just remember like one day staring. This is years and years ago. Just one day staring at it without being prompted to. Like nobody told me what it was. Nobody pointed it out to me. I just remember. I finally looked at it long enough to realize what I was looking at,
Yep.
And I was like, this guy looks fucking ridiculous. And I remember thinking, like, all right, I get that it's 1970, but, like, even for 1970, like, is this supposed to be scary? Like, is this supposed to be intimidating or whatever, or is this a fucking joke? So I never really got it until I looked into it. But, no, it's fucked up.
No, I mean, when it comes to face it, man, Sabbath was not known for good album covers. I mean, the first one was great. I mean, now now it's an icon of an album cover.
Sure.
And then, like, say, Masters of Reality is pretty cool. But then they basically fucked up the actual band photo cover. You know what I mean? For what album? Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They do the group photo, and even that's hokey as shit.
Well, that's one of the more intimidating covers, but, like, what bothered me about, I think my favorite Sabbath album cover is Dehumanizer. Like, I just love the Reaper on that record, and I love the logo on that album, too. It's very jagged and such, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But, no, what bothers me about the Paranoid cover is that, like, the album was originally called War Pigs, and then Vertigo Records said, no, this song you just banged out to fill out the record, Paranoid, like, that's a gold mine, that's a single, you have to name the album for this song, and this song's going to be the second song on the record, and this is going to be the hit single, so this is the name of the album now. But, so they did all that hemming and hawing about changing the name of the record, but they didn't go out and get new album art. They kept it the weird soldier with the pointed shield and the sword and the pink leggings, and even though they had changed the title from, like, it would have made a little more sense if it were called War Pigs. But it's not. It's called Paranoid. So, like, if you're gonna go through all that, why not just find something? Just replace the cover art. But, like, here we are. Has that record ever been released with a different cover, like re-released?
Not that.
Or is it like, it's 51 years later and this is still a thing? Like, it just stuck. But I mean, it wouldn't be the same if we wouldn't be able to have this conversation had they changed it.
Well, that's exactly it. But it's always kind of been a weird thing with their covers. Like, even with Volume 4, I mean, I believe that, with Sleep and, this whole thing starting way back when, Sleep to me is what made Volume 4 the big of a deal as it was. With their tribute album covers that they did.
Right.
But yeah, with Paranoid, man, it's just weird, dude. It doesn't fit Paranoid. Unless they're thinking you're seeing samurai dudes with motorcycle helmets and shields, I guess.
They're coming after you. They're after you.
Right,
yeah.
They're coming to get you. Which is funny, man, because, I mean,
that's some nightmarish shit.
Yeah.
So, like, I've never had a nightmare about that album cover, but that's one I might. Just... that is just such a fucking warped image and such a funky looking dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So what is the most underrated song on Paranoid?
I'm gonna go back to Rat Salad, man. The when you compare Rat Salad with the rest of the album, and technically speaking, musicianship-wise, Rat Salad is just a banger, man. I mean, it's got everything in it. Granted, it doesn't have Ozzy, but musician-wise, that song's on.
Yeah, I feel like Rat Salad is the one that may have cued in some progressive metal bands or some of this,
Yeah.
I mean, when you say math rock, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of, you're kind of also saying progressive, but, they do kind of, there are a lot of bands that just kind of stand out on their own and use that as their descriptor, math rock, but they don't, they don't label themselves as progressive. So, I think, Rat Salad is one of those songs that kind of put this idea in people's heads early on, to just just in general, just get a little more experimental, instrumentally.
Yep. For sure. That song, like I said, just going back through it, and like I said prior, with High and Fire covering it, it just that got me, to go back and revisit, and then listening again to it tonight, right before this, I'm like, hands down, man. I mean, when it comes to the musicianship, that song is them in full display. Everybody gets a little nugget, except for, not Ozzy, but the band, I mean, wow. It just shows. I mean, 2 albums in, come on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a feeling you're going to talk about Rat Salad a little more, but list each, in your opinion, list each band member's strongest moment or song on the album. So at that point, you gotta bring up Ozzy as well. So.
Yeah. Now for Ozzy, listen, and you are correct. I mean, for the musician side of it, Rat Salad to me wins hands down. And for Ozzy though, the vocals for War Pigs, man.
Yeah.
The way he goes as high
what
as
an opener! That is an
goes.
immortal. That is an immortal song.
Yeah.
That is an untouchable opener for a record.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal for an opening track, right? And I mean, I highly doubt anybody can listen to that song without singing along with Ozzy, thinking we can sing. It's awesome, and it shows how long, his ability to hold his notes, man. Not that he had a lot of notes, but the ones he did, he could hold.
Right. Yeah, and it's a busy song lyrically too. Like he's really making a point. He's really going after the powers that be and war criminals, or the people who are war criminals in his mind, at least. Like,
yep.
It's it's a big song. It's very political and it's very personal, and that's the whole record. Like that song sets you up for the rest of the record perfectly because the whole album walks that fine line between like a personal crisis and just the state of the world.
The state of the world, and especially with Hand of Doom, and what veterans were going through coming home. I mean, it's just it really is, man. I mean, and imagining when this came out, I mean, songs like War Pigs, man. I mean that's a big deal back then.
Right.
Real big deal. And for some reason, like, other than Rage, they're really, Public Enemy is pretty political, but there's not a lot of bands that can pull it off.
Sure.
Without annoying their fan base. And, Sabbath is definitely one of those, because they provoke thought, not anger or anything, but they provoke your thought going, hey, wait a minute, man. And so for coming back in 70? My memory is such garbage. Was it 71 or 71 Paranoid came out?
It was 70. It came out the same year as the debut. Like, Paranoid came out in the fall. That's
right. Yeah, so, back then in 1970, man, a song like War Pigs had some weight. That probably didn't sit well with a lot of people.
Right.
So kudos to them for doing it back then.
Yeah, I mean, they that was a big theme. That was something that I think even Geezer said in a couple of interviews back then. He said that he felt Americans were afraid to talk about the war in their music, and that somebody had to step up and talk about what was really going on in the world in their music, because there were enough people listening to maybe make a difference and get a point across.
Yep.
So again, Paranoid was an important album for that too. So
definitely.
we kind of already answered my next question just naturally. So I was just gonna bring up specifically those war-based lyrics. Did Paranoid at all affect your view on political or war-based lyrics in music?
Yeah. I mean, basically with what we did, just kind of cover. There's not a lot of songs. I mean, Rage, they grabbed it, but I was so, wound up in just the music. I didn't really necessarily listen to what he was saying. But, man, when you sing along with Sabbath, with War Pigs, Paranoid, Hand of Doom, I mean, you're getting history and what's going on at their time You know, and it was a pretty, I don't know, bleak outlook, you know, with the war. But I just lost my train of thought again. Sorry, dude.
Keep going, man. You're doing great.
Okay, cool. No, it's just, it's for some reason, man, I don't know. Singing along with those songs, you know, and I guess my age group as well, because a younger kid now that picks up Paranoid for the first time, you know, he's so far removed from that generation, you know what I mean? That they might not necessarily grasp what these songs are about, but to me, you know, Sabbath was, even in the 80s, was, you know, waning, of course, but they were speaking, you know, of a time I actually knew about, and for some reason, those lyrics and the way they did it make it very easy to digest and what it's about.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's they paint really good, dark but very good portraits of what was going on at the time with addiction and veterans. I mean, you listen to those songs and you get a scene from Platoon in your head. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. No, sure. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was very honest. It was very from the heart, but the lyrics were very involved to the point where they really painted a clear picture in your mind of yes. their perspective on world events, for sure.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, you know, and but there's, like I said, there's not a lot of bands that can, you know, politically, I guess System of a Down to an extent, you know, they had quite a few political songs, but there's only a handful of bands that have ever pulled off, you know, being political. I mean, you know, I got Randy Blythe, the Lamb of God, you know, cool. It's just, you know, he's just one of those people that I don't want to hear politics from. I want him to just scream and rock out.
Sure, sure.
You know?
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, so, yeah, the last thing I had for you was, I feel like we already talked about this a little bit, too, you know, just because we brought up the political climate and just the world climate back then. But, so what do you imagine it was like to hear this album for the first time in the fall of 1970?
I have this conversation with my best bud from high school. I've known this dude for like 36 fucking years. And we have this conversation all the time of just how fucking amazing that had to be a teenager, you know, stoned out with the headphones on and this record for the first time. I mean...
Right.
You know...
Exactly what I'm asking. Right.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I can picture what it was like, and I can almost put myself there. I mean, not only, you know, you can imagine hearing Paranoid through a set of headphones, or not Paranoid, but playing a Caravan for the first time through headphones.
Right.
Wow. You know, I mean...
Because that's a psychedelic journey right there.
Yeah.
That is, you know, that's... That took metal, you know, into that realm.
Yes. Know? Sure. It's just such it really does. It takes you somewhere. And then the other songs, you know, I can only imagine sitting there and being like, what is this? You know, because for them, that was brand, nobody was doing that. And, you know, people can argue all they want, but sorry, nobody was doing what Sabbath was doing. But to hear that stoned out through a pair of headphones in the 70s, man, I can only imagine, brother. I can only imagine.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head because it was the drugs too. You know, it was the whole feeling of getting up in the morning back then and knowing what was going on and just, you know, and again, you know, we talked about this when we talked about the debut record. Like, you're listening to an album like this, and there's really nothing else at the time you can compare it to. No. Like, except maybe the Black Sabbath debut. But even, like, the Sabbath self-titled album and Paranoid are two completely different records because, like, the self-titled had so much blues influence.
Yes, yep.
And by the time they got to Paranoid, which was only a few months later, like,
crazy.
It was just, that was gone, and they were they were skewing off onto all these new roads, you know, and, you know, that's what turned into many of the subgenres of metal that, you know, that are tops for everybody. And it's just crazy to think about this 50 plus year journey that heavy metal's been on, you know. It's it's fucking wild. And I can't wait, you know. You know, I hope that I fucking live to see it. I'm curious to know what heavy metal is like when it's 100 years old, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. And it's crazy. It's crazy. No, it's really weird you saying that, man, because, you know, we were alive for the first, well, me, almost 50 years of, you know, metal. Granted, I was born in 70, so it took me to really hear anything when I was, 8 or 10?
Yeah.
But that's 48 years, or 40, we'll say 40 years of metal for my ear holes, you know, and, you know, I can only imagine, you know, we've only been 50 years into the metal scene. That's not long, you know, so I think there's a lot of ground to still be covered for sure. You know, things will be twisted, reinvented, and, you know, molded into something new, hopefully, that, you know, really catches our eye, and ears, you know, so, you know, I'm really happy I grew up when I did. You know, I know everybody says that about, you know, when they were born, but, you know, I mean, I get Sabbath and Zeppelin and Slayer and Metallica and all, you know, come on, man. We were lucky.
Oh, yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, we were definitely lucky. And, what was I going to say? Yeah, and it's not like Sabbath just caught lightning in the bottle once. They basically, I mean, for their formative years, they captured a career of lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the albums that they put out when they were on fire, man, are, you know, it's deep and it's awesome because they were just, you know, album after album after album of just this awesome shit.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, Sabbath is pretty cool, man. I definitely dig them.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's an understatement. No, I'm excited to keep this going, man. I'm gonna have you on for Master of Reality.
That'll be awesome.
And
man.
then we'll do Master of Reality next, and then I have a buddy here at the Zine who's we'll give you a night off, and then I have a buddy at the Zine here who's gonna do Volume 4. But yeah, no, I got the whole schedule in front of me. I'm really excited about it. 40 parts, man. Like,
right on, man.
Articles and podcasts, it's 40 parts. I'm really,
awesome.
really pumped to do this, man. And all about one band. Well, counting Heaven and Hell as the 20th.
Right.
The Devil You Know, counting that as the 20th Sabbath record, which I am. Just for the purpose of this series, but...
No, absolutely.
Right on. All right, so yeah, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, man. I think I hammered enough.
Sounds perfect. Yeah, I think this went really well, and I'll let you know when we can get together, and you know, we'll figure out when we can get together and do Master of Reality.
Sounds good, bud.
All right, you have a good night, sir. Thanks.
All right, my man. Good. Hey, good luck tomorrow, dude.
Thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Later.
All right, later.